So diet's easy. Pretty much everybody in the nutrition space, doctors, dietitians, nutritionists, coaches, all agree on what the best diet is for everybody.
Go from now!
Or not. Well, if you didn't catch the joke, there is not consensus. Everybody is at each other's throats when it comes to, what should everybody be eating? What's the proper human diet? What were humans meant to be eating? And let me tell you, it varies. It goes from you've got doctors, a lot of doctors. You've got doctors saying that you should not be eating very much protein, almost no protein. Like 40 to 50 grams a day is more than enough for a healthy human body, for healthy functioning within your body. I just read a book. It was called Proteinaholic. Interesting book. I think some of it's just kind of vegan, plant-based propaganda, but he did make an interesting case for why humans should absolutely never ever eat animal protein, and animal protein is what's killing everybody. It's an interesting case. And then I turned around and I read another book. This book was called Protein Power, and this book is saying the exact opposite as this other book. And these are both written by doctors. Both of these books are written by doctors. These aren't just wackos on the fringes. They're a little bit on the fringes. Well, the Proteinaholic guy is definitely on the fringe. All I'm saying is that you can find almost anybody who agrees with anything. If you're an animal rights person or an environmentalist and you don't want to eat animal meat, you can find a plethora of resources that'll tell you you're exactly right. Eating animal protein is terrible. It's not only is it unethical, but it's terrible for your health. It's going to give you cancer. That's what's making you fat, is the actual fat, the saturated fat specifically in the animal protein. But let's say you really love meat. Well, you can find the Library at Alexandria could not contain the number of volumes written on how awesome animal protein is for you and how you could possibly survive on nothing but animal protein and fat. So it's a mess. That's a mess. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, and I understand that's a big if, but if you're enjoying it, please leave a like and a comment. If you're not enjoying the video, still leave a comment. The more sarcastic, the better. If you feel like you need a little more personalized coaching, DM me on Instagram at American_Fitnocrat. If you don't have Instagram, send a raven. So what do I think? Well, the reason I wanted to talk about this at all is because in my last video, I talked about having a good diet. Make sure you have a good diet. And I realized after I got done with that video, I always have to go back and watch these because I am my own video editor. Someday I'll have somebody. Someday I will be able to hire an actual video editor, but for now it's just me. So, much to my chagrin, I have to go back and watch every minute of these videos, and as I'm watching them, I'm critiquing. And I realized, as I was watching the last one, I talked about diet a lot. I talked about a good diet, but I never actually went into what a good diet is, or what do I think is a good diet. What do I think is the optimal diet for somebody who's just looking for general health and nutrition, and they're trying to build some muscle, what should you be eating? Now, I wasn't going to get into it in that video anyways. It was already getting to be too long. But that's what I want to talk about now, because that's important, and where it is such a mess, maybe I have some important insight that I could give you. First of all, let's dispense with this idea that there's one single diet that everybody would thrive off of. Now, human bodies are varied. There was a frisbee. A frisbee just went rolling across the highway. I don't know where it came from. Anyways, dispense with the idea that there's just one single diet that everybody would thrive on. It's not true. We're too different. We have different biology. Some people thrive on a vegan diet. Other people seem to thrive on a carnivore diet. And both sides hate the other for it. Both sides don't want to accept that you could possibly live that way and still be a healthy person. And with any diet, especially on the extremes, vegan and carnivore, that's pretty extreme. But you're always going to be missing something. If you're going to go carnivore, obviously you're not going to be getting hardly any fiber. Well, I said hardly any fiber at all in your diet. That's probably not good. And if you're a vegan, you're going to be missing a lot of things. You're going to be having a hard time getting enough protein in. Unless you subscribe to the proteinaholic guy who says you only need 40 to 50 grams. That's like a fraction of what I would recommend for people. Of what most people in the fitness space would recommend. But your diet's going to look very different from somebody else's diet. Here's one key principle that I want you to remember. This, above all other things, this will take you further than, it doesn't matter, this will take you further than any other piece of advice that you could ever hear on this subject. It does not matter what the optimal diet is if you don't like it. If you're eating food every day that you hate, you're not going to stick with it. Why would you? Life is hard. Life is hard. And for a lot of people, the only upside is that small moment in the day, the 5 to 10 minutes where you get to sit down to a nice meal and put delicious food in your mouth. And then once the meal's over, you go back to living your crappy life. There are many people who are kind of living for meals. And I get that. I understand that. So to take that person who's already having a real hard time at it, the business is going sucky, your family life is hard, your wife just left you, I don't know. Shiz is going down in your life. Take that person and tell them you need to stop eating all this delicious food that you enjoy. And that guy's just going to go, no, I'm not going to do it. And then you say to him, well, yes, but it'll be better for your health. No, I don't care. I'm not giving up my morning pop. I'm not going to quit eating sweets. I'm not going to quit getting McDonald's because I like McDonald's. It's my comfort food. I'm not going to stop eating pizza. So you take this person. What do you do with this? What do you do with this person? This is why I don't do meal plans. Meal plans are silly. Unless you're working with somebody who is really dedicated and they will literally do whatever you say, whatever that you tell them to do. Don't even bother with a meal plan, because you're just going to give them a bunch of food. This is more for other coaches than for non-coaches listening, but generally speaking, meal plans are pointless and a waste of time. I want to tell you a story. I'm still on this is this above all else. Remember that. I need you to remember this. I'm still on that kick. But I want to illustrate I want to illustrate this point with a story. My cousin, I have a cousin. We'll call him John. It's not his real name, but I don't think I'm supposed to say people's real names on here. John was quite large. He was a large fellow. Not just fat. He was tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6". He is a tall guy. And fat. He was that too. Anyways, we went over to a family member's house to play poker. It was poker night. And this cousin of mine, John, he shows up. And he looks a lot thinner than the last time I saw him. Like, significantly, like, healthy. He looks healthy. Again, he was probably maybe 50, 60 pounds overweight last time I saw him, which was like a year and a half ago or so. You know, big boy. And I'm looking at him now, and he's thin. Anyways, I look into that. I inquire. I'm like, hey, John, why do you look like that? Why do you look so thin? Where'd all the extra cushion go? And John says, oh, I started grilling. I got really into grilling. Grilling? Yeah, grilling. I've got a smoker or a grill or whatever. I know those are two different things, smoking and grilling, but it was something like that. I think he got into grilling, he got into smoking. Anyways, oh yeah, I got into that, and I love grilling meat and vegetables, and it's so much fun and it's so delicious. And I've just been doing that. I don't eat fast food anymore. I don't eat very much junk food. And I asked him, like, what? Well, how did you just stop doing all that? And he said, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to come home and grill up some meat. Says he's been eating a lot of meat. So that'll make the carnivores feel good. This isn't a hit against vegans, though. That's not the point I'm trying to make right now. Here's why John was able to lose, I think he said he'd lost 60 pounds on this diet. Here's why he was able to do that. This is the main point. Because he enjoyed it. You have to enjoy your meals. You have to enjoy your diet. If you don't enjoy it, well, the second you get, you're gonna have a burst of, you're gonna have this burst of motivation and determination, and you're gonna grit your teeth and you're gonna eat the broccoli. Just eat the broccoli. And then life will go back to being hard, and you're gonna say, okay, well, this isn't really worth it. This sucks. I'm gonna go get me some McDonald's. That's what I do when I keep saying McDonald's because that's what I do when I give up. When I just say, the heck with it. I go get me some McDonald's. Or Little Caesars. Little Caesars is my other comfort meal. Ew, Little Caesars. Little Caesars is disgusting. No, it's not. Little Caesars is great. Pizza snobs. The world is full of pizza snobs. You know, I don't taste any difference between cheap, sucky pizza, like Little Caesars, or, $10 pizza from an expensive pizza place. I don't notice any difference. I think they're fooling you. You're being lied to. You see the price tag and you say to yourself, oh, well, this must be high quality. And then you eat it and it fools your taste buds too. Your taste buds go, this is such high quality. That's neither here nor there, though. If you're going to go on any kind of a diet, that's the first principle that you must never forget. You must enjoy it. You got to figure out how to enjoy it. Now, here's the next principle that helps my cousin John, and it could help you as well. I just realized I actually do have a cousin named John. It's not the cousin I'm talking about right now. It's the different... Anyways. We don't call him John. We call him Jonathan or Johnny. Yeah. This is I've been telling you about my cousin, not John, even though I actually do. I should have picked a different name is what I'm saying. Now any of my family members who watch this are going to think I'm talking about my other cousin. Anyways. Here's the second principle that allowed my cousin not John to lose 60 pounds. And this is something that pretty much everybody agrees on. I know I made a little joke at the beginning about how nobody agrees on anything. It's probably one of the best reels I've ever made, if I'm being honest. That reel with all the armies and stuff all running at each other, when I posted that on social media, it got like 20 views. So yeah, I peaked early, unfortunately, in my social media career. But anyways, you know, even after all that, that's not that much of an exaggeration. It's not that everybody's actually going out and killing each other, but they want to go out and kill each other. That's how passionate people get about nutrition and how wrong they think the other side is. But despite everyone's differences, despite the vegans, the carnivores, the omnivores, the paleo, the Mediterranean, low fat, high fat, low carb, high carb, you know, despite all of that, there's one single thing, one thread through all these different ideas that all seems to connect them all, whether they would admit it or not. The less processed, the better. If you cannot eat super processed food, what do I mean when I say non-processed or minimally processed? Think the food that you'll find on the outside perimeter of a grocery store. That's where you get your fresh produce, your fresh meats, milk, eggs, stuff that's been minimally processed. Everything's been processed a little bit, let's be honest, but minimally processed. Minimally processed and nutrient dense. We're looking for things that have relatively low calories but have lots of nutrients in them. That's why all the stuff in the center of the supermarket and the aisles, all that stuff is usually not very nutritious because it's artificial. They've taken it, they've messed with it, they've taken out nutrients, they've tried to add nutrients. It has the whole carb fat protein ratio is totally thrown off. By the way, there are 3 main macronutrients that you need to keep track of: carbs, fats, and protein. That's important. That's a minor detail, knowing your macronutrients. So that's the other reason that John was able to lose so much weight. He enjoyed his diet, and it was minimally processed, whole foods, whole meats, vegetables, fruits, maybe even whole grains. So, if you keep those 2 things in mind, those 2 principles, find food that you enjoy and try and make it as minimally processed as possible. Whole foods. We'll just say whole foods. Enjoyable whole foods. If you stick with those 2 principles, you will find a diet that works for you, that allows you to be at a healthy body weight, and that's sustainable. Because if you can't do it forever, then it will be of no use to you. And you can. It takes some practice, but you can do it. Just like anything. It's just like exercise or any skill. Learning to eat well is a skill just like any other. And it takes a little time and practice, but you can do it. Just do a little bit every day. A little bit of research every day. Try a new recipe here. Try something you've never done before. Try smoking a new kind of meat. Something. And keep an open mind. Like I said, I'm not against vegan or plant-based diets. They work really great for some people. Now, where they go wrong, yeah, we won't get into that right now. Yeah, well, I'll get into it. I said it, so I'll just get into it. Where they go wrong is when they say that that's what everybody should be doing. And the carnivores do the same thing, and yeah, everybody does the same thing. This is the ideal diet that everybody should be doing. No, there's probably not one ideal diet for everyone. But if you're enjoying it and it's coming from almost entirely whole foods, you'll do just fine. Ooh, I have a recommendation for you this week. Segue. I've been talking a lot about World War II. This isn't a World War II fact. This is a World War II documentary. This is where I'm getting a lot of my info from that I've been talking about in my past videos. It's really good. It's called World War II in Color, and it's on Netflix. It's been out for a while, so yeah, this shouldn't come as any kind of revelation to most people. If you have Netflix, you've probably seen it floating around. It's really good and pretty popular for good reason. They take all this original footage from World War II. This is all original footage, so even though it's on Netflix, they couldn't, take out all the white soldiers and put in a bunch of black soldiers and a bunch of strong, independent women, going and killing Hitler or something silly like that. I know Netflix wants to do that. They would if they could, but this is all actual footage, so they weren't able to do that. All actual footage that's been restored, and it's been colorized. It's World War II in color, and it's just so interesting. It's not just that it's in color. I noticed this as I was watching. I just barely noticed this a couple days ago. I mean, I'm like 20 hours in to this documentary. There's a couple of them. They're two separate. It's like season 1 and season 2, kind of. And I didn't notice this until about 15 hours of viewing in, but all of the sound effects, and every video has a sound effect that goes with it. Every piece of footage that you see, if you see people shooting guns, you hear gunshot noises. If they show tanks, you can hear the sound of a tank lumbering along. You'll just see guys like sitting around a fire or a stove out in a war zone, and you hear the sounds of nature. And it occurred to me as I was watching this, they had to add in all the sound too, which I really appreciate. It's very immersive. So yeah, if you need a good World War II documentary, I highly recommend World War II in Color on Netflix. You will have a much deeper understanding and appreciation for World War II. Not appreciation like it's awesome that it happened, but I don't know, maybe you'll feel that way. Appreciation like, oh wow, look at what these people sacrificed for the freedom of Europe, for the freedom of America, for the freedom of Asia, because the Japanese. My one complaint is that they spend an entire episode talking about the atrocities that the Nazis committed against the Jews. Which, fair enough, the Nazis did commit atrocities. But they only spend about 10 seconds talking about the Japanese atrocities. And then they spend a whole nother episode talking about America dropping the A-bomb on Japan. Wait, did they talk about that? I'm also reading a book that talks about it right now. Killing the Rising Sun by Bill O'Reilly. So maybe I'm getting my wires crossed. Anyways, all I'm saying is that they really they emphasize how evil the Nazis were, but they downplay how evil the Japanese were during World War II. The Japanese were every bit as awful and horrific and savage as the Nazis were, maybe even more so. But we did draw racist cartoons of them. So, drawing racist cartoons, viciously brutalizing Chinese women and children. Yeah, I can see where the moral equivalency comes in. Anyways, it's a really good documentary. So I highly recommend it for any history buffs out there or anybody who wants to learn more about World War II. That's all I've got. Go out, watch World War II in color, fix your freaking diet, because if you're like almost every other American, it probably sucks. Whole foods that you enjoy. Be gone. Thank you for listening. Hey, tell me, have you ever heard someone say something like, oh, fitness isn't everything? Don't listen to that communist gobbledygook. Take pride in your body, take pride in your fitness, and let me help you along the way. Follow me at American Fitnocrat American_Fitnocrat on Instagram. And if you'd like some personalized coaching, DM me.